Recordings rolling. It's Wednesday, November 19th. We're on lesson 6.3, which is roots and rational exponents. Okay, so how do you take roots of, say, variables? Right, so the puzzles start looking like this. Right? Of course, you guys maybe seen some of these in your Alex puzzles, right? Because this will round out the Alex assignment for this week, 6.1, 6.2, Okay. All right, so I'll show you guys some for examples, how to solve things. Thank you. Right before we get to that, a couple other things. So the midterm schedule has been released. So I did post this to Google Classroom for you guys. So your first midterm is going to be on Tuesday the 16th, December 16th. That'll be for period one. Then you guys got a couple midterms each day after that. Okay. Also, there is fast ELA testing the Tuesday coming back from Thanksgiving break. So it's Tuesday, December 2nd. I think all ninth and 10th graders are taking this. So guys, got a lot of ninth and 10th graders in here. So I did post to Google Classroom an Excel page that shows exactly where you're testing. Okay.
If you're not doing the fast, you just go to the wire class.
Okay, yeah. Guys, if you're not doing the fast, just follow your regular schedule. And some of your classes might be relocated. Like there's going to be testing in this classroom. So I'll look for a relocation schedule so I can give you guys a heads up on that too, right? But at least you can know where you're supposed to be testing because most of you guys are testing. Right? So that's on Google Classroom. All right. So what's this roots and exponents about? Right. So there are rules for exponents and there's a connection to roots. Right. So I'll go through some rules with you guys. Right. Start with this. Is what if you see x to the power of 3 multiplied by x to the power of 2? Okay. Here's what is that?
That's 5.
X to the power of 5. Yeah. X to the power of 5. Okay. So now if you wrote this out in expanded form, it would be x times x times x. And then over here, this would be x times x. Yeah, so you're multiplying x together 5 times. And it's just that, right? So, hey, can you generalize that rule? What if you have x to the power of a multiplied by x to the power of b? What's the general rule? Yeah, x to the power of a plus b. Right? You can just add the powers together. That's not true. Just like that. Okay. What about the other way? Right. Guys, what if I had x to the power of 3 divided by x to the power of 2? What's that?
X.
Yeah, just x. Say x to the 1 or just x. Okay. So expanded out would be x times x times x, all divided by x times x. So, of course, it just leaves back that. So the general rule is that you have x to the b divided by x to the a, you do what to the exponents? Subtract them, right? So in this case, 3 minus 2. Okay, like that. Okay, so there's the rule. Okay. How about let's do negative powers. Because what if you see x to the power of -3? What does that mean?
1 over.
Yeah, 1 over x to the power of 3. It's the same thing. Okay. So for example, if you saw 2 to the power of -3, what would that be equal to?
1 over 8.
1 over 8. Yeah, because 1 over 2 to the 3, 2 to the power, you guys know this is 1 over 2 to the power of 3. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So look at that. Right. How about, what if you see this? X to the power of 1/3. What's another way to say that?
Square root of 2.
Yeah, so the cube root of x, cube root of x. Right? So guys, a fraction power is the same thing as a root. And if it's a 1/3 power, that'd be a cube root. Right? What if you saw what if you saw a 1/2 power? That's also called a what?
Square root.
A square root. Yeah. Right. So here, let's do some examples. Right. What if you see 8 to the power of 1/3? What's that?
That's a cube. Cube root algebra.
Okay. A cube root is what number you can multiply by itself 3 times to bring it back up to the original value. Right. So in this case, the answer is 2. Right. So guys, what's 2 times 2 times 2?
8.
8. Right. Since I know that 2 to the power of 3 is 8, I could say, well, if I take the cube root of 8, that would bring me back to 2. Right. So, kind of like an inverse relationship, like we did yesterday. Right? That's right. Okay, how about this? What if you're taking 9 to the power of 1/2? Guess what's 9 to the 1/2?
3.
3. Yeah, 3. Right. Okay. Right, so we got. Um, Right, so let's do crazy fun example. What if I have the cube root of, let's go 27 times a to the power of 6 times b to the power of 12. How about that? Okay, straightforward. Okay, so what do you do? Right. Ooh, guys, that cube root, does that cube root apply to each of these individually inside? Notice they're multiplied. Guys, is there anything added or subtracted? No, right? It's just one giant term, isn't it? One giant term. Okay. So could if I wanted to, raise each of these individual values to a 1/3 power, right? Like 27 to the 1/3 multiplied by a to the 6, all to the 1/3 multiplied by b to the 12, all to the 1/3. Okay. You guys, could you do something like that? Okay. Okay. Oh, and that's the other rule I had to go over with you guys is what is a power to a power? Well, we can just knock that out right here. Okay. Guys, if you have a power raised to a power, what do you do to those two powers?
Addition and multiplication.
You multiply them. Yeah, you multiply them. Right? Okay. So let's break it down piece by piece. Okay. What is the cube root of 27?
3.
3. Yeah. Okay. If you plug that in your calculator, here, let me show you how to plug that in your calculator so you get it right. Okay. So you do 27 raised to the power of, right? And then, guys, it's really important you put this in parentheses. Is 1/3. If you miss the parentheses, then the calculator doesn't read it correctly. But yeah, that's the cube root of 27, which is 3. Because 3 times 3 is 9, times another 3 brings you back to 27. Yeah, good step. Okay. And then what about this bit right here? What would this be? A to the power of what? 2. Because 6 over 3 is 2. Okay. And then what about this? B to the power of what?
4.
4. So that's the answer. And you can just type it this way. 3a squared b to the 4 gives you that. That could be the answer. Okay. All right, so there's a bunch of exponent and root rules. That's pretty much it. I mean, yeah, a couple will do it, but I'll play the long video, which you guys can watch, or you can hop straight onto Alex, and I can walk around and help you guys out.